Time for a visit with another member of our 980 WCAP Expert Network. R.L. Stevens and Associates comes on every week, and we talk a little bit about jobs. Of course, in the current economy, and with unemployment up around 10% here in the state of Massachusetts, a lot of people concerned about where they're going to find their next job. R.L. Stevens and Associates certainly can help with their nearby locations in Waltham and in Bedford, New Hampshire. And joining us on the line is Regional Director of R.L. Stevens and Associates, James Walker. James, welcome back to 980 WCAP.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be back.
We're going to talk a little bit about resumes today and really about marketing yourself. First off, let me just ask you the simple question. How important is a resume when you're in the market for a job?
It's extremely important, and it's really kind of sad to see that society has kind of pushed people just to program themselves to have a generic resume.
What do you mean by generic resume?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of variables put behind when you're being viewed at a company. Some individuals may be able to identify what looks to be a great opportunity, and it very well could be. And then they take their time to send the resume in, and they kind of forget what's happening on the back end of things. You may have an individual that will be reviewing your resume, and you'll be lucky if you get 15 seconds. And you need to keep in mind that when a person is viewing your resume, it's nothing personal, but they really don't care about you. I mean,
it's true.
We encounter that here all the time.
Now, when you're part of the company, that's a whole different story. Okay, you'll be welcomed into the culture, you'll be welcomed into the environment. But when they're reviewing you for the very first time, the things that they're thinking about is how do you fit the future of their company. And for the most people put down a historic resume that's just purely talking about the past. And they forget the mindset of the person is specifically where the future of their company is going. And in many ways, you can't find that through a job description. You know, we all know that a job description just talks about the day-to-day activities, but it really doesn't talk about the future of the company, the fit of the environment, and stuff like that. And that's all information that is very, very difficult to get your hands on and to be abreast of. And it basically comes down to how are you positioning yourself.
What are some of the basic mistakes that people make with their resume? It sounds like we just discussed one, that people will make one generic resume and just send that out to everyone without realizing the importance of adjusting it to fit the circumstances.
Exactly. A great question. We're actually in hiring mode right now. I was reviewing some resumes the other day, and someone gave me a resume where they were an engineer of some electronics, and that was it. You know, I'm looking for very experienced individuals in other areas, not just that. And so this person was obviously just saw something online and decided just to put it in, and they didn't even get 10 seconds of my time. The concept is to really understand the direction and where the company is going, how you can provide value to that, and how you communicate that outward. And that is very strategical, very dynamic, and can be complex to do. And we see so many people just saying, oh, yeah, I'll apply to this and apply to this, and they are literally just clicking on titles, and they're literally just clicking the box and then hitting send to all. It is, we're all adults here, but I'm sure we can all debate pretty rapidly that one resume isn't going to fit all those boxes that you check.
Right. James Walker is joining us from R.L. Stevens and Associates, members of the 980 WCAP Expert Network. So as we talk about customizing the resume, and you talked about kind of positioning it so that it looks toward the future, explain more about that, because I think myself, like a lot of people, look at a resume as it's supposed to be past history. It's supposed to be, here's what I have done. How can I put down on a resume, or where would I put down on a resume what I'm looking to do for the company in the future?
Well, it's very very important to, first of all, identify what the industry is and where the industry is going. And you have to show how you provide value in the future of that industry. Now, there's a large amount of ways to do it. Well, I shouldn't say large, but if you really think about it, you're not going to know really all the in-depth information you need to know until you've been in front of them and until you've gotten them to talk and tell you about what they're looking for, what their needs are, and so forth, so you can start to tie how you can do that. But when you're initially trying to do it, it's really important to understand the industry trends, the market trends that are happening, and how you very first introduce yourself to that company. Because if they see that you as an individual are going towards their future, they say, whoa, slow down here. You know, this person is going exactly where we want to go. Let me look at this a bit more. Now you've just managed to buy yourself a bit more time. That's all you've done.
Sure.
So now as you're going through, you know, the experiences that you've brought, is you again have to show the results that you've brought to the places that you've worked that parallel where that industry is going. It is not, you know, it isn't anymore putting down, you know, managed successfully a staff to bring to fruition plans on time. You know, that doesn't tell anybody anything. You need to specifically show the results that you bring. And something that, you know, we see all the time, which is so dangerous, is people are putting such a historic review about their past that they're literally giving them more ammunition to be discarded. The only objective that resume has is for them to call you. That's all you want. You want them to call you. So you can ask more follow-up questions to get them talking, so now you can start to tie in your fit to them. So the more you give them, the more of a chance you're giving them to disqualify you with all the thousands of other people that they're now seeing. And so it's very important to keep it brief, keep it succinct to where they're going, what they're trying to achieve. So all you're getting them to do is say, hey, you know what, maybe I should call this person and ask them some more questions.
James, I was going to say, forgive me, but as you're talking about keeping it succinct, is the two-page resume an automatic kiss of death?
It could be, and many times.
So in keeping...
I work with so many recruiters. I work with so many agency recruiters, corporate recruiters, HR directors, you know, all these people, all these gatekeepers that you're trying to get through, which is for the, you know, first of all, probably the wrong place that that you really want to go. If right now in the economy we're being forced into really kind of like re-engineering ourselves, you know, how can I fit into different areas? You need to actually get to the decision makers, which is very complex. But the concept is to just keep it as brief as possible, because all these recruiters and agencies and HR people, they are scanning for keywords. They're looking for specific things. They're doing it very, very quickly, and 98% of the time, you don't know what those are.
Sure. Do you get a sense from dealing with people that who are looking for jobs that a lot of times they don't understand or don't think about how many resumes are probably going to wind up in the pile for a specific job?
Well, that is, sadly enough, you're correct. What is happening nowadays is, as I was saying before, people are just clicking on the titles. You know, think about it. The Internet's doing its job. You can do it easily. You can navigate it simply. And then when you apply to something, you actually kind of feel productive on the inside, okay? But people aren't seeing what's happening on the back end of it. You know, you could post a position, and in under a 24 or 48-hour time period, just depending on what type of position it is, it can either be from several hundred applicants to several thousand applicants. And people are forgetting that you are now dealing with a coffee load of the person who's coming in to view those resumes, and it's not even a statistical number anymore. It's coming down to luck. Who are they going to view? So that means if they're going to be viewing your resume, it needs to be so targeted, so on track, that it talks to them. Because, again, they don't care about you. you need to be talking about them, which is the actual opposite of what a resume does. So it's very strategic and very complex and dynamic of how you put it together.
James Walker, Regional Director from R.L. Stevens and Associates, providing us with some great information today. If folks are thinking about changing jobs, if they're in the market for a job right now, want to know how R.L. Stevens can help, how can they get in touch with you?
They can either go to our website, interviewing.com. They can give us a call. Our phone number is there. But you need to keep in mind that getting a position, there's just a lot more to it than just the resume.
Absolutely.
They are, it's again putting yourself to where they're going, and then bringing yourself in behind it. The whole paradigm of job hunting, just due to what the economy has done, has totally shifted. And people, by how society over the many decades have taught people to job hunt, that paradigm has totally shifted.
Well, James, we appreciate your time as always. We will talk to you again next week.
It is more than my pleasure. You guys have a great week.
You too.
Bye-bye.
James Walker, Regional Director, R.L. Stevens and Associates. Their nearby locations in Waltham and in Bedford, New Hampshire. And you can check them out online at interviewing.com.